Hey everybody, this is me, the Undead Viking, and this lady right here is the Dynamite Nurse. Dynamite Nurse is also the name of the game that I'm going to be talking to you about here in just a few moments. Dynamite Nurse is a deeply themed anime game. It is a deck building game in which each person is going to take on the role of a nurse and taking charge of a hospital where they're going to be healing adventurers that are coming out of dungeons after they've been poisoned or cursed or what have you, and trying to heal them as quickly as possible. If you are good at your job, you'll earn victory points and you will go far as being renowned as being a healer. If you do bad, you'll be known as a nurse that instead of healing and saving people, you are known for killing your people and therefore known as the Dynamite Nurse. This game has, like as I said, it is deeply themed in anime, and as you can expect, the cards in the game are going to also be deeply themed anime art. Now, that being said, some of this artwork is a little suggestionable, if you know what I mean. And so if you are going to be watching the rest of this video, there are going to be some pictures or some artwork that you might have a problem with. You know, I definitely did not play this game with my daughter. I didn't really want to expose her to it. But, you know, I'm an adult and I can play games like this and kind of remove myself from the artistry, if you will, and I can just concentrate on the mechanisms of it. It is a lot of fun, mostly because, you know, it is a deck builder that is very confrontational, and which is something that I really enjoyed. And also has some really wonderful timing moments as far as being able to like kind of set yourself up for big returns and big victory point swings, which is also something I enjoy. But let me show you how the game is played and kind of go over the game with you, and then we'll come back here and we will discuss all that further. Alright, this is Dynamite Nurse, and this is what the game is going to look like once you get it set up. Just briefly going over what you're looking at here. These cards right here, these are the patients. These will be coming out. This is what's considered to be like the dungeon right here. These are adventurers that have gone into the various dungeons that surround the village that you happen to be working at in your hospital. And as they get hurt in the dungeons, they will be escorted out into a row here, which are considered to be like the ambulances, basically horse and carts or whatever you want to consider. However many players there are, that's how many ambulance there are. So if you have 4 players, there's 4 ambulances here, and then they just slowly but surely, like, you know, take those spots. Just kind of keep that in mind. Over here are the kill marks and the Dynamite Nurse card. Now, as the game is played, you will most likely, I guess, theoretically, you could probably maybe get through a game without killing one of your patients, but you probably are going to end up killing your patients. But you are going to collect these kill marks for each patient that you kill. Now, these aren't shuffled into your deck or anything, as far as like the deck building. As a matter of fact, I should mention that you know, you won't be shuffling your patient cards into your deck. You know, you'll be shuffling like your any of the cards that are like basically in these rows here will be shuffled into your deck, but you do not shuffle your kill mark or the Dynamite Nurse card into the deck. But anyway, so you just get this card that says the kill mark, a patient died, and then depending on the number of these that you have at the end of the game, you will earn some negative victory points, as you can see. If you have more than 6, you don't earn any more. That's the maximum victory point penalty you can have. The Dynamite Nurse card is given to the person whoever has like the most kill marks. So the first person to kill mark is going to get the Dynamite Nurse card. So, and then what's going to happen is if somebody else gets a kill mark, they don't get this. They'd have to get another kill mark, and then they get the Dynamite Nurse card. Now, the Dynamite Nurse card works as 2 things. At the end of the game, it counts as 2 kill marks, but also, because of the fact that you're kind of like known as the Dynamite Nurse, which I guess I'm sure that's a translation thing going on there, but basically you're known as the nurse that's killing people. You're not doing a really good job of healing anybody, and so you've got a little bit of a bad reputation. But there are a lot of cards that have certain powers that are very helpful, but it says on the cards, like, if you are not the Dynamite Nurse, then you return the card back onto the store. Basically, this is where you buy things. So, like, for example, the triage card. All patients in transport who are in critical condition are admitted to the hospitals of the players in charge of them. So the transport would be the ones that are in ambulance, just so you know. But if you notice in the bottom it says, if you are not the Dynamite Nurse, return this card to the town, which would then be in the middle. Now, so that would mean you'd have to put it back out there to be purchased by somebody else. However, if you are the Dynamite Nurse, you get to keep that card, which can be a very useful card, and there's other cards like that. And so that's kind of like a catch-up mechanism, if you will. Like, if you're having really bad luck, or you're not doing a really good job of healing your charges, if you will, then this is the way to, like, help you out just a little bit. And actually, in the plays that we've had of this, I've had players actually kind of, purposely, I mean, I wouldn't say super purposely kill off their the people that they're supposed to be healing, but they wanted to keep the Dynamite Nurse card in their hand for as long as they possibly could before the end of the game came, and then so they could just use certain cards' powers over and over again, and it was a very viable strategy. I should mention, while I'm talking here, the end of the game occurs in one of two ways. When all of the kill marks are gone, there are 15 cards in this deck. That's for 4 players. If you have less than 4 players, there'll be less cards in that deck. Or when all of the dungeon is emptied, meaning there are no more patients that are located in there. Alright, so then these cards in the middle, as I said, are the town. These are all the things that you're going to be able, looking at, to purchase or use. And so you have these cards over here, which are like, technically, I mean, these are cards that have a money bonus on them. So you'll purchase them. So, like, if you've played other deck builders, you kind of have a more expensive price. So, like, the top right is the price. So here, 3 and 5, and then they're worth 2 or 3 coins. But as you play the game, you'll need those to be able to purchase other ones, and so, like, they'll give you back an investment. They'll pay you off, basically, in the long run. Now, these cards are like the surgery cards. These are the cards that you'll be using to heal the different people that are hurt. So let's just look at this really quickly here. So, like, here's the cursed patient. And then there's like, some flavor text and a cool little picture and what have you. You'll notice that here and here, this is like the total amount of care, that you have to. You notice that the same thing is on the bottom here. Like, so if you had one of these cards that is this serious surgery, and you played that, you'd be able to, and this was one of your patients, because it takes 3 to heal it, you would be able to heal this patient. And then you can notice that we were 2 victory points at the end of the game if you'd healed them. Now, the backs of these cards have, like, a critical condition. I'll explain that in just a little bit. But critical condition, you can see the difficulty in healing them increases because of the fact that they're dying. This number in parentheses here, that is the number if you don't have enough healing to, like, heal them, so you can, because if you complete this, you put this person, you'd heal them even with 4, and you'd still get the 2 victory points. But if you only have 1, or you could spend 1, and that would flip them back over to this level. So you can get them out of critical condition, and then maybe next turn you'd be able to heal them. So that's what those mean. All right, so I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but it'll come clear really, really quickly, because playing this game is relatively simple. It's just a matter of making sure you have the right cards and you're building the right type of deck that's going to help you. And like I said, there's lots of different cards in the middle. And these are the basic cards. These are the ones you're going to use to buy things. These are the ones that you're going to use to heal your patients. These cards are the situational cards that you're going to be using. And these cards are the event deck. Now, event cards are a little bit different because of the fact, obviously, they're an event. And because of the fact that they are not the same. They're all these different types of cards. And so they have different actions. So when you use them, so like you can see here, select as many of your admitted patients as you wish and put them in a trailing position of the ambulance, one at a time, in whatever order you wish. You may then switch their duty markers, and I'll explain what all this means here in just a bit. But basically what this card does is it as people are in the ambulance and they are not being delivered to the hospital, they will slowly move this way, and then after they reach the end of the road, basically. Because remember, there's 4 spots in a 4-player game, 3 and a 3, and so forth. As they get moved slow, if they can't be moved anymore to the right here, they get flipped over into critical condition. And if they were to be flipped over again because of critical condition, that kills them. And so, and when a person comes into play, and I'll explain how this happens, they are given a marker to show who they belong to. And so, if they die on your watch, that's how you get a kill marker on that location. So, just keep that in mind as I'm explaining this card. So here it is. This is all wrong. You miss your patients you wish and put them in a trailing position. And these are your admitted patients, the patients that are in your hospital already. But you can get them out of your hospital and put them in the ambulance one at a time in whatever order you wish. You may then switch their duty markers, which would be those cubes over there. You can switch their duty markers for other players. So basically you can take like patients that you're having trouble curing, you can put them out there into an ambulance. Basically you're just throwing them out into a cart or an ambulance, what have you, and you're basically sending them to somebody else's hospital. And so then there can be their problem, whatever. So you can also notice if you're not the Dynamite Nurse, you return this card to the town. In which case, then if you return it, you put it on the bottom of the event deck. Now, for whatever reason, I apparently had the two, when I shuffled, that happen. But so there are different ones, so like, erase. When you buy this card, you may add it to your hand. Return one of your kill marks to the kill mark pile. After that, take all the patient cards in the graveyard and shuffle them and put them back in the dungeon. So, like, there's different cards and different abilities, and once again, if you're not the Dynamite Nurse, then return this card to the town. So, one of the things that can happen is when you're buying the event card, like if you don't like the card that's on the top, like say you don't like this event here, you can say, you know what, I don't want to buy this one, I want to buy the card that's underneath it. And so then you flip this one underneath it, and then you could purchase Moonlighting if you wanted to. If you don't want to purchase Moonlighting, or if, like, for whatever reason, like, here, actually, that costs 1, so let's just put that, like, you had 1 coin left, but you didn't want that one, and you put that under, and this card was the next one, which was Erase, but you didn't have enough coins, or you just didn't want to buy Erase for whatever reason, you don't have to buy it, but, you have the option of seeing the card below it, but you can't go back and take the card that you put on the base. So there you go. Now, these cards right here are nurse cards. To begin the game, you are going to start with a nurse, which, gives you the ability, has no victory points, but allows you to draw an extra card, and you can provide an additional treatment or make an additional purchase when you pull the nurse card. You start with these consultation cards, and you can see they're the starting cards because they have these stars on there. And you get some simple surgery cards, which allow you then to perform. They have a little bit of a healing bonus there. So those are the cards you're going to start with at the very beginning of the game. Now, to get more nurses, you have to actually treat one of the patients and cure them. Whenever you cure a patient, you get to take the top card off the nurse deck. And then you get to place that in your discard pile. So then you notice these are going to be worth more victory points, and they're going to have certain abilities. So like you can provide additional treatment or make an additional purchase with this one. If the ambulance has not exceeded their limit, you may transport patients until they reach the limit. If they have reached the limit, you may transport 1 patient. So basically, transport is putting more patients into ambulances. So if you have this nurse, she has the ability to give you the action of being able to just fill up the transport row. So, and the nurses, as I said, are shuffled and they're put, face down, so you don't know what's the next nurse, and so you just kind of have to take what you get. Alright, so that's a brief overview of the mechanisms of the cards and what have you and how those work. But how does the game work itself? Well, the game works just like you would think, like any other deck builder. You're going to have your starting deck of cards, which I'm shuffling right now, and what you're going to do then is you're going to draw 4 cards. Now, there's a couple things here. Unlike most deck builders, this game does not make you discard cards if you don't want to at the end of your turn. If you don't want to discard any cards, that's fine, and you get to draw 4 cards at the end of each turn, or when basically the beginning of your next turn, regardless of if you have any cards left over in your hands. You can build up a bigger hand of cards to be able to play. You don't. So if you have a situation where it's like, oh, I've only got 2 money and I can't buy anything. Well, I'll just hold on my cards. I'll pass. I'll wait till my next turn, and then I'll go ahead and I'll draw 4 more cards and I'll have some more cards. So no hand limit. think of that, and the fact that you're always going to draw 4 no matter what. So you take top 4. Let's just see what we get here. So you take top 4, and, well, I got my nurse, and I got 3 of my consultation cards. So that's going to give me a bonus of 1 coin per card. So I'm going to be able to buy something. But I can play my nurse, and I can go ahead and put that down. That allows me to draw a card. So we're going to draw a card. I got a treatment card. That was really going to help me because of the fact that I don't have any in my hospital yet. Each person has 2 spots in their hospital, and they have to get cards into the transport zone before you can even do that. But I'm going to skip ahead here in just a little bit. So basically the first turn, you're really not going to do anything. You're going to buy another card. So what you're going to do here is, I can't really use this for anything, but I'll probably keep that in my hand. So in case I can get a card, into my hospital, I might be able to use that to treat. But I'm going to play all 3 of these. And when I play all 3 of those, that gives me, I can buy 1 card that is worth 3 coins. And I can go ahead, and I could just go ahead and purchase, the Black Magic card. It has a bonus of 2, so it's going to heal, give me that heal bonus of 2. And, it does also, when you play it, it allows you to transport 1 patient. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in my discard pile as well. And then that would be my entire turn as far as playing my cards goes. However, now I have to transport. So what happens now is you take the top card off the top of the deck, you put it into the ambulance area here, and then I take one of the cubes. Doesn't have to be mine, it can be anybody's, and I go ahead and I basically say whose hospital that particular person is going to. So I could go like this. I could go ahead and put that, say I'm blue, so bam, that is that's going to be coming to me, and then after you do that, the admission phase, I can admit as many people as I wish that are mine. I can't admit somebody else's patient to my hospital, but I could then take this card and I can admit it to my hospital, like so. And so, and then I'm going to have that person available next turn when I come. Now, as long as I'm able to draw, and I have this 1 card, remember, as long as I'm able to draw enough cards to heal that person, then I'd be able to heal that player. So each other person is going to take a turn, and I'm just going to kind of go here. And so, just kind of show you how the whole critical condition thing works. So, this normally wouldn't happen because there's only 3 other players. Let's just say nobody else admitted anybody. And let's, maybe somebody was a jerk and gave me that person, and, they go like that. And so those are the ones that are assigned to everyone. And I want to show you one thing here quickly. There are people that come into play that have, emergency care on them. Hold on, let me find somebody. Here we go. So, here's another cursed patient. But you can see this person is in emergency care right there. So when this patient is transported, they are immediately admitted to the hospital of the player in charge of them. So when they transfer over, then this person's going to be dropped off into the hospital. They don't have to go through the admission phase to get that person into the hospital. All right, so on my turn, I can go through the whole process of I would draw my 4, so I have my 5 cards in my hand. In this case, I have the 3 healing that I'm going to need, that I can use to treat, and so I have 2 coins, which I could use to purchase another one of these ones. But I'm not going to do that. I don't want to gum up my deck with a bunch of that stuff. So, but I can use those 3. I can heal this patient. She goes into my scoring pile, and then I get to draw a nurse and place that into my deck as well. Simple, right? All right, so if this person had stayed in my hospital and not been treated, that person would have been flipped over to show that she's been just languishing in my hospital and hasn't gotten healed, and she's gotten into critical condition, meaning that I've basically got 1 more turn to heal her, or else, she's going to die, and then I'm going to earn a kill mark for it. But up here, I have a situation where I can't add a card because all the ambulances are filled. So in this situation, I have to flip over, and I do the transport phase first. I have to flip over that person, and now I can go ahead and admit somebody, and I have to admit this person, and I admit them in a way that they are already in critical condition. And so next turn, I've got to be able to heal that person or they're going to die. And so that's where the kind of the timing of both the admission, the transport phase and the emission phase really come into a situation where you got to rely a little bit on your ability to build up a good deck. So you're going to have those options available to you that are going to allow you to like heal the people as they come in. But also, because of the fact that you get to, when you put the person in the transport row, you can really jam somebody, and other players can kind of recognize if somebody's doing well, like, you know, they haven't killed off any patients. They can really jam somebody by giving them a lot of patience and causing overflow, where, like, if they haven't, you know, cleared out the 2 spots they have in their hospital and they've got, you know, patients up here that can't get delivered, they're going to sit there and languish and they're going to die, and then those persons are going to earn, you know, negative victory points because of the kill marks they have. But anyway, so the game is going to continue until you get rid of all the kill marks or you get rid of all the heroes. At that point, everybody totals up all the victory points. Some of the cards, like you can see, like this one over here, they have victory points on them, and not just the patients score victory points. Whoever has the most will win the game. If 2 people happen to tie, whoever has the least number of kill marks will be the winner. If they're still tied at that point, then the game just kind of ends with like a mutual victory between those 2 people. But there you go. That's Dynamite Nurse. It is decidedly a game that is if you're gonna like the theme, you're really gonna enjoy this. I mean, I liked it because it is a very antagonistic deck builder. You have the ability to really make things troublesome for other players, you know, but you can't do it too much because obviously you're giving them opportunities to get lots of good victory points. Because not only do they get the victory points for healing their patients, but they get the victory points when they turn over, you know, these nurses, you know, because the nurses themselves, as you can see, and not all of them, like some of them have like negative victory points, but the nurses themselves, you know, have victory points up on the top, and so like when they get those, you know, they have, you know, like another chance, if you will, to cash in. So there's a nice fine line you have to ride in that situation that makes the game a lot of fun. But let me talk more about that with my final thoughts. Alright, thank you very much for taking the time to learn Dynamite Nurse. You know, I would love to know if this is like just something that is like completely made up by the publisher, or if it's, you know, a manga, you know, or if it is actually like an anime. I mean, I'd just be interested to know if they're actually like, you know, making a cartoon about this. I should say cartoon, they're not cartoons, but you know what I mean. Or you know, like I said, if it's just a manga, you know, like if it is a comic of some sort. You know, and so if anybody knows, tell me. But anyway, regardless, you know, I already kind of told, when I told you how the game was played, you know, why I enjoyed the game. Like I said, I really kind of like the whole timing part of it, you know, the whole process of like making sure your hospital, you know, has empty spots, you know, empty beds to get those people in and to your hospital so you can treat them. I enjoyed the whole process of being able to, like, you know, shove more patients towards people that aren't really prepared to take care of those. I really like the whole Dynamite Nurse card, as far as, you know, that, you know, having that is helpful but also can hurt you, you know, obviously if you have it at the end. So it's kind of like a hot potato, if you will. Like, you want to kind of hold on to it so you have like access to some really powerful cards and some really good abilities. But, you know, as you can see, the game is wrapping up. You got to figure out a way to get it out of your hands, you know, by obviously like shoving more patients in the direction of people that can't handle them, so they eventually kill more people than you and that you take that card. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things as far as that I really, really enjoyed. Now, I understand that the theme might be questionable to some, and I totally understand that, but the game itself, the mechanisms of the game, the fun of the game is definitely there. And if you are a fan of you know, anime and this type of genre of game, I think you're really, really going to enjoy this, especially if you're somebody who likes deck builders. It has, you know, really, really well done art. I found, like, the game, like, as I said, if you like confrontation, I think you're going to enjoy it as well. And it is rather challenging. You know, I think I'd like to believe that there's expansions for it. I mean, because usually these games get brought over, they're popular, in Japan, and then they're brought over here. So I can only assume that there's probably more cards and more expansions and things like that. So I'd really like to see how they can expand upon what's already here. More nurses, more of the different these blue cards as far as like those situational cards that can be used, and more events too. I'd really like to see all of that as well. So there you go. If you have any questions about Dynamite Nurse, and I love that name too. I just, like I said, it's probably a translation thing or something like that, but I kind of like that it's just, kind of anachronistic, if you will. It just doesn't really make sense. I mean, like, what she's blowing up the hospital or something? I have no idea. But, and when you read the rules, I think the rules are available online. The rules, they definitely have a sense of humor. I mean, this is a very light-hearted game and probably shouldn't be taken very seriously at all. But check that out. They're kind of a hoot. But anyway, regardless, if you have any questions about it, ask away. I'll try to answer those as best as I can. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, I'm the Undead Viking, telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. Alright, bye-bye.